Lena had just finished a long day at work, feeling exhausted and drained. She was a struggling writer, working long hours at a dead-end job just to make her ends meet. But despite the challenges, she never lost hope, always dreaming of one day finding success and true love. On this particular evening, Lena decided to take a walk in Central Park to clear her mind and find some inspiration for her writing. She strolled along the winding paths, taking in the beauty of the city as the sun set behind the towering skyscrapers. As she walked, she couldn't help but feel a sense of loneliness and longing. She was searching for something more in her life, but it seemed just out of reach. And then, she saw him. He was sitting on a bench, lost in thought, with a book in his hand. Lena was drawn to him, his dark hair and piercing blue eyes, and she couldn't help but approach him. His name was Jack, and as Lena approached, she noticed that he was engrossed in a mystery novel, a genre she was particularly fond of. She mustered up the courage to strike up a conversation, asking him what he was reading. "It's called Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie," he replied without looking up from the book. "Have you read it?" Lena smiled and sat down next to him. "Yes, I have. It's one of my favorites. What do you think of it?" From there, the conversation flowed naturally. They talked about books, movies, and their shared love for the city. Before they knew it, hours had passed and the sun had long disappeared. They exchanged numbers before saying goodbye, and Lena felt a flutter in her heart as she walked away, knowing that she had just met someone special. Little did she know, this chance encounter with Jack would lead her down a path of adventure, love, and self-discovery in the city that never sleeps. Lena spent the next few days in a daze, her mind fixated on the mysterious man she had met in the park. She had never felt such an intense connection with anyone before, and she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something special about him. Despite her best efforts, she couldn't seem to track him down. She visited the park every day, but he never appeared. She scoured the city for any sign of him, but came up empty-handed. One night, as she was walking home from work, she saw him again. This time, he was standing in front of a small jazz club, swaying to the rhythm of the music. She approached him cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. "Hey there," he said, smiling warmly at her. "I've been looking for you." Lena was stunned. She couldn't believe that this was really happening. "How did you know I was looking for you?" she asked. "I just had a feeling," he said with a shrug. "My name is Jack, by the way." They spent the rest of the night talking and listening to the music, and Lena felt a strong connection growing between them. As the night wore on, Jack took her hand and led her to a nearby park, where they sat on a bench and gazed up at the stars. "You know," Jack said, his voice low and husky, "I think we're meant to be together." Lena felt the shiver run down her spine, and she leaned in closer to him. She was sure that she had found something special in Jack, and she was eager to see where this would take them. As they sat there, lost in each other's eyes, the city of New York seemed to fade away into the background, leaving just the two of them, together at last. Lena had been wandering the bustling streets of New York City, taking in the sights and sounds of the city that never sleeps. She had just finished her shift at the local coffee shop and was making her way back to her apartment when she spotted him. Jack, the man she had met briefly at the park, was walking towards her. At first, she couldn't believe it. She had thought about him since their first encounter, but never expected to see him again. As he approached, she couldn't help but notice how his brown eyes sparkled in the city lights, and how his broad shoulders made him stand out in the crowd. He stopped in front of her, a hint of a smile on his lips. "Fancy meeting you here," he said, his voice deep and smooth. Lena felt her heart racing as she tried to steady her nerves. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "I was on my way to a meeting, but it got cancelled. So I thought I'd take a walk and clear my head," he said, his gaze never leaving hers. As they stood there, caught in each other's gaze, a sense of familiarity washed over Lena. It was as if she had known Jack for a lifetime, not just a brief encounter at the park. As they continued to walk and talk, the city around them fading into the background, they both felt a spark of something special beginning to form between them. They talked about their interests and their lives, discovering that they had much in common. Lena couldn't believe her luck. She had come to New York to start a new life, but she never expected to meet someone like Jack. As they said their goodbyes and went their separate ways, she felt a sense of longing in her heart. She couldn't wait to see him again and continue their city adventures together. Lena and Jack had spent the next few days exploring the city together. From visiting the iconic Central Park to trying new foods at the trendiest restaurants in town. They discovered that they had so much in common. From their love of adventure to their passion for learning about different cultures. As they strolled hand in hand through the bustling streets of NYC, Lena couldn't help but feel a deep connection to Jack. She was fascinated by his stories of growing up in the city, and he was equally interested in her tales of travel and adventure. They both felt like they had finally found someone who truly understood them. One evening, as they were admiring the view from the top of the Empire State Building, Jack turned to Lena and confessed his feelings. "I've never felt this way before," he said. "I think I'm falling in love with you." Lena's heart skipped a beat as she realized she felt the same way. From that moment on, their relationship grew stronger with each passing day. They spent all their time together, taking in the sights and sounds of the city, enjoying each other's company, and simply reveling in their newfound love. Lena had never felt so happy, and she couldn't imagine her life without Jack. He was the missing piece she had been searching for, and now that she had found him, she knew that she never wanted to let him go. As they walked arm in arm through the city, Lena couldn't help but think that this was just the beginning of a beautiful love story, set amidst the hustle and bustle of the greatest city in the world. Lena and Jack's relationship continued to flourish as they explored the city of New York together. They went to all the romantic spots, from the top of the Empire State Building to a cozy dinner in Little Italy. They found themselves falling more in love with each other with each passing day. However, as with any relationship, there were challenges to overcome. One day, Jack came to Lena with some news that would change their lives forever. He had been offered a job in Europe, working for a prestigious company. He would be gone for several months and wouldn't be able to see Lena until he returned. Lena was heartbroken at the thought of being apart from Jack. She had finally found someone who made her heart skip a beat, and now he was going to be so far away. They talked about the possibilities, but in the end, Jack had to take the job. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that he couldn't pass up. The months passed by slowly, and Lena found herself growing more and more restless. She missed Jack terribly and longed for his touch, his laugh, and his presence. She couldn't imagine being without him for much longer. Their relationship was put to the test as they navigated the distance between them. They Skyped, wrote letters, and talked on the phone, but it just wasn't the same as being together in person. They both knew that they had to make a choice, whether to stay together or to let go and move on. As they faced this crossroads, Lena and Jack realized that their love was worth fighting for. They made plans to meet up in Paris and spend a magical week together. It would be a chance to rekindle their flame and to see if their love was strong enough to endure the distance. They hoped that this trip would be the answer to all their troubles, and that their love would conquer all. Paris was everything Lena had imagined and more. From the moment she stepped off the plane, she felt a rush of excitement and anticipation. Jack was waiting for her at the airport, and as she saw him, she felt her heart skip a beat. They hugged each other tightly, and it was as if they had never been apart. The week they spent in Paris was magical. They explored the city hand in hand, strolling along the Seine River and watching the sunset from the Eiffel Tower. They laughed and talked, reliving old memories and creating new ones. Lena felt like she was living in a fairy tale. One evening, Jack took Lena to a small cafe in the heart of the city. As they sipped their wine and looked into each other's eyes, Jack took out a small box from his pocket. Lena's heart skipped a beat as he got down on one knee and asked her to be his forever. Overcome with emotion, she said yes, and they embraced each other tightly. From that moment on, Lena and Jack's love only grew stronger. They returned to New York as an engaged couple, ready to face the future together. They knew that there would be more challenges ahead, but they were determined to face them as a team. The two of them were walking down the busy streets of New York, hand in hand, when they came upon a street musician playing a beautiful love song. They stopped to listen, and as they did, they both felt their hearts fill with happiness. They looked into each other's eyes and knew that no matter what life threw their way, they would always have each other. Lena and Jack's love story was one for the ages. They had faced the distance, the challenges, and the doubts, but in the end, their love had conquered all. They were each other's home, and they knew that they would be together forever.